Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tabitha Rangara. I am the team leader for Open Distance and e-learning. And this afternoon, I've been given a task. I'm the fourth among the speakers to talk about the theme being gender equality for a sustainable tomorrow. My topic was about cutting your niche for success. Now, when we talk about gender, we always have a bias to gravitate towards women. But I put this slide intentionally just for us to remember that gender is not only about women, even though we are focusing on the Day of the Woman tomorrow. So this slide, it doesn't show faces, but I'm sure all of us can understand or guess what are the sexes of those who are in this slide. And because I'm still also engaging, who would tell me who is the leader of this group? Who is the team leader? Is it the one at the left, the right, the left, or in the middle? In the middle, yes. And those are the biases that we go about. And is he a man or a woman, the leader? He's a man. We have all decided he's a man because he has a tie, he has a shirt. We cannot see his face, but we have decided he's a man. So when we talk about gender equality, we ought to think of the whole spectrum, not just the men and not just the women. So my outline, I'm going to talk about what I was given to talk about. How can women identify their niche area and run with it? Secondly, what are the disadvantages of being a jack of all trades? We'll see what that means. I don't know it personally. Overcoming negative competitions and focusing on your race and winning it. And lastly, we'll talk about the power of silence, how to be felt in a different way. Do you have to talk too much to be felt? Are there particular actions you have to make for people to see and hear and feel that you're there? Now, first, when I talk about success, success is a question that is difficult to answer, just like equality. Mathematicians will tell you it's very difficult to balance that equation of what is equality. I personally, I prefer to talk about equity because equality has so many variables we are trying to equalize. Are men and women equal? As we have seen, and the slide, the theme slide keeps going, you can see at the bottom as well, we keep thinking about it. Are men and women equal? How did we decide that the team leader there is a man? How did we decide that there are 2 women or 3 men? How can we not say they are all men or they are all women? So with so many variables, it's usually hard to bring a balance to equality. Equity, on the other hand, is that we all have a balanced start point, that everybody is given an opportunity for them to do what they can according to their potential. So when I look at success, success is contextual, it's very personalized. It can be your state of mind, your perspective. What is success to you? Somebody's success story is that they were able to wake up this morning and walk. For someone else, their success story would be that they have now bought a big car. Another one, I have bought a big house. So success is contextualized. I cannot say what you will call your success story or what my success story can be. That's why I put there the question marks. What is your definition of success? When is it that you will say you're successful? For students who are here in the hall, thank you for coming. I know your focus right now is to finish your studies, and the day of graduation you will say, I was successful, and we're all waiting for that. Lastly, in this slide, I want to ask, what is your life manual or your guide? Because having recognized that you are here for a purpose, whatever your season is, as a gender woman, what is your purpose? it would be very tragic if you went through life not recognizing that you're here for a purpose, that you are made a woman for a purpose and not a man. So what is your manual? What is your guide that would help you go through that? And there are many in this world. We have heard and read 7 habits of highly effective people. Some people use this book like their Bible, and they say the 7th habit is this, and the 5th, and the 2nd, and so on and so forth. We also have another book, The Purposeful, I don't know if you can read it, The Purpose-Driven Life. For many Christians, they'll tell you if you read this book, it will change your life. The first time I read it, I went through all of it, and I still didn't know my purpose. So I want to say that it may take time for you to come between you and God and realize what exactly is your purpose. There's also the other one, 48 Laws of Power, a very popular book. You will balance all the laws that you want in every context so that you're always the one holding the power. And that is up to you. I love this manual. For me, it's the Bible. I didn't show the cover, but you can all guess that this is the Bible. Now, what does the Bible tell us? First of all, I know that I was created a woman and not a man, and because of that, there's a purpose for which I was created. And in this slide, when we are asked, how can women identify their niche area and run with it? I have put 2 pictures there, graphics, if you like, and it's because everyone has a story. What is your story? In the first graphic, if you can see it clearly, it's called the parent, I don't know if this, okay, it's called the parent and kids, their perception. It's all in the perspective. So this is a parent of a disabled child on a wheelchair, but the parent doesn't see that. There's someone who has come by and asked, oh my, what happened to him? What do you think she's seeing? She's seeing the wheelchair. But for the parent, her answer is, he caught a cold. Yeah? Yeah, so we all have our own biases. And that is even where my story comes from. So as a young girl in a boarding school, I think I was in 6th grade, we were playing with my fellow children like all children should play. And then a stick fell on my eye. But because we were in boarding school, it took, I think, 3 days. The nurse just took a plaster and put it on the eye. So it took 3 days for them to realize they need to call my parents. And I've walked this life. I'm not shy to talk about it. Does anybody see my disability? We always argue with Lucy. She says, what is it you cannot do? And I say, there are many things people think I cannot do. Sister Lucy. Yes, so this is something I just want to put out there. It's not a trick question. It's all us. What do you see when you see someone? What is their potential when you see them? So that was my story. So when we went to the doctor, me and my daddy and my mom, and we saw so many specialists. Of course, after 3 days, it was too late. And so there's an Israeli doctor, I always remember only that doctor, who pronounced that this eye will never see again. And so my dad said, you heard what the doctor said? We have 2 choices. We can pity ourselves or wallow in it, or we can go on with life. And that is the last time my parents, may their soul rest in peace, that's the last time they talked about it. So I went through life in my family, nobody ever talked about it again. And I went through primary school, and by God's grace, I really worked hard, and I went to Alliance. Yes, I know, when people say I went to Alliance, it's usually the negative. But Alliance people don't say I went to Alliance because of they are proud. It is because of the way life changed for them in that school. When I was working in the Dean of Students' office, I often asked the students, do you remember what your school motto was? And many of them could not remember. How could you go through a school for 4 or 6 years and not remember what the motto was? What were you doing there? they were just passing through class. So for us, we always knew the motto is strong to serve. And just by going to that school, we were condemned to serve. I've met my former schoolmates at whatever level. Some are nurses, some are governors, some, they are in all sorts of places. But the one common thing is that we were given character formation, we were given self-belief, we were made to know that the sky is not the limit. And this is the information that we pass to all the people around us, men and women, both gender, that you have to realize your potential, you have to realize what is it that you're on earth for, and run with it. Once you get that, many people go through life without ever knowing what is their purpose, and that is so tragic. So it's very important that you get to understand, ask God, if you believe in God, why am I here? How did I come to be here? So as we went through life, number 2 is another depiction. This is a common thing in all interviews. Now for me, I always wonder, should I say, because it's a disability anybody can see, should I mention it or should I not? But this depiction actually tells us that everybody has a story. There are some people with disabilities that you will not see. They are inside, right? One of them, the interviewer, is actually asking, should I tell him I'm slow reading? I cannot even read his resume because I'm dyslexic. So he's dyslexic, he interchanges words. When he sees a word called dog, he thinks it's God or pig. So this is how dyslexia works. But nobody can know, because you can walk around and people never know. There have been even American presidents who are dyslexic, who could not see what a P or a D is. But here they were successful. So when you realize that everybody has a story, it kind of indicates you that I now have to work hard for what I'm here for. And what is it that you're here for? Another question I was told about disadvantages of being a jack, and thank you, Miriam, for coming. So being a jack of all trades, it was very difficult for me. First of all, I'm a pessimist, so the issue of disadvantages is usually very hard for me. But being an academic, you always ask, what are the disadvantages or the advantage? So you're always in that position of weighing things. But for me, I'd like to see the bright side of life. I always want to see maybe the advantages. And what is it you can define as a jack of all trades? I already said you can choose your manual of life. If you do not have a manual, please look for it. Find it, if it's in a book or it's in a Bible. Find your manual. As I'm saying about disadvantages of being a jack of all trades, and I've said if you analyze what is a jack of all trades, that's the story of my life. But the Bible being my manual or my guide, I can identify a few verses which can help us move along. So in this verse, Luke 5, 4 to 5, sorry, I have to preach. The disciples were told, put out into the deep water and lower your nets for a catch. So, in life, what is it that you can put into the deep? Does it mean you're specializing in a trade? Does it mean you're specializing in an academic venture? What is it? Do you want to get a specialty that people will know that person only knows how to do this? Or when I need this, that is the person I can go to. So, sometimes you can do that, and on a bad night, just like the disciples, you will catch no fish. I'd rather move with the times, because the times when we are living, the 21st century, needs you to have so many skills. It needs you to be adaptable. It needs you to be flexible. So if you are specialized, and here where I stand from, I am the last person who should be talking against jack of all trades, because I have 4 degrees in 4 different places. I'm an occupational therapist, I'm an educationist, I'm a medical educationist, and I'm an e-learning pedagogist. So you can imagine, I don't have a real train. However, when the season calls me for it, I will go into the deep. Because in my manual, I'm told I must do my best. In the school where I came from, excellence was not, it's a lifestyle. It's not something that you choose. Excellence is something that you live. So my young colleagues at Odell will tell you, I always tell them, you must be excellent. And the college and the university has come to realize that when you send an email to Odell, it will come back to you in real time. When you call us, we'll be there to answer you. And when we have to train you, we will train you. So with that training, I know that I am passing on the baton to other people who can actually know that excellence is a lifestyle. It is not a choice. When I'm called to in another season, when I will have to bring out another skill, I will probably go into the deep at that point. So I think when we talk about jack of all trades, it depends on your context, it depends on your season. If that is the season where you are, concentrate on that what you're doing. Focus on that what you're doing. Here is another verse. It says, whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. So many of our graduates today, you ask them, I used to work in the Dean of Students office, and even the alumni, they say, I still don't have a job. So you say, what job are you looking for? And they say, you know, Daktari, whatever I trained for, I cannot find it, so I'm looking for anything. How tragic. You can't go through life looking for anything, because you will get nothing. So at that point, you need to focus and decide, where am I going? What is it that I want to do? And I cannot look at the season and say, everybody is crying, there are no jobs. For real, there are no jobs. So should I join them, or should I come out and stand out from the crowd? This is the last verse on this jack of all trades discussion. Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let not your hands be idle. For you do not know which will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both will do equally well. What does that tell us? That you need not sit back, that I've done my best in this, and so even if it is doing well, you still need to look beyond what you're doing and see, what is it I can change for somebody else's life? How can I solve a problem in humanity that will help the generations to come? So back to our theme, cutting your niche for success. I already said success is contextual. Decide what your success is. And after that, how do you overcome negative competitions? Focusing on your race and winning it. Of course, there's competition everywhere. There's competition everywhere. And the worst thing that people like to do is, if I see Sister Lucy, sorry on my example today, if I see Sister Lucy is excelling in a trade, she has opened an M-Pesa, I want to imagine I will also excel in that. I will go next to her and open the same, and now we are competing. Did I say that everybody has a purpose in this life? Maybe what God gave her to do that is not you. And then you start complaining, she always takes all the customers, there's something she's doing. You know, you didn't understand your purpose. Why did you just choose on what somebody else is doing and decide that that is what you're going to do? This is a very deep thought process. Whenever you want to venture, why don't you think, what is it that is in me that will bring out the best of me? And this is very important. When I was growing up, we never had coaches. Now we have executive coaches, we have employment coaches, life coaches. And when I saw a life coach, it changed my life, because I got to make goals for life. They are not permanent. You can keep tweaking them as you go through life, because life happens. So you need to be goal-oriented. You need to have a plan. Cultivate your passion. What is it is your passion? Many times, if you look back into your childhood, you'll find that there was something you really loved. Maybe education killed it, or your parents killed it. But you can think back, what was my passion? And how, now that I have an opportunity, how can I grow it? Be authentic, as I've already said. Even when you want to open your own trade or business, what is it that is, you can only be the best of you. You cannot be the best of Agnes, you cannot be the best of Miriam, because they're you, they're not you. And as we said, there's nobody else in the world like you. God is so amazing. He created everyone unique and for a purpose. Once you get that, you know that mine is mine, and you need to look for what you are. Be authentic about it. Be very purposeful. Those are things that help. Self-belief, as I've already said. Be very confident. Have your own self-respect and self-defense. Now, self-defense doesn't mean you go to a karate club. Self-defense means stand up for what you believe in. When people come into your space, be very fierce about it. I think when I was doing the interview for the director of hotel, we were 4 of us. And I decided, I told God, this is my job. And when I entered there, yes, I fought like a lion, because that is my space. Once you claim it, you must fight for it, and you must defend it. Once you get your space, you must defend it. Don't let other people come and tell you, today what happened? Why are you dressed like that? I mean, you looked at the mirror and you saw you were smart. So don't let other people tell you you are not smart. And talk to yourself. Many people, I think there's once when we went for an Erasmus training with one of my colleagues here, and we reached Frankfurt. And I always, my children always know I have a conversation with myself. I said, Tabitha, welcome to Frankfurt, because the airport writes welcome. So I have to tell myself, because it's my first time to be there, and who else will tell you? So you have to tell yourself, take charge of you. So I always have to be confident and defend my space. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate every small achievement, however small. Celebrate yourself. If nothing else, you made your bed in the morning. That was good. If you went through the day and went back home, what a success. You are not knocked by a matatu. It is so, it's not celebrated. If you're that person who always has a wine glass in the evening, celebrate yourself. And even just time, it's not always you be in the mirror and tell, today I had a good day, or today it was a terrible day, but here I am. So celebrate yourself. Now, the most important thing, carry other people along. There's room enough for everyone, and we are going to see that very soon. There's room enough for everyone. Don't behave like you own the world. The next thing, because of time, overcoming negative competitions again. What does this picture tell you? There are some spaces where people will always feel like people are against you. Sometimes it's just paranoia, but sometimes it's real. Sometimes it's real. Because people being human, sometimes they don't like what they see in your potential. They would like to fight it. They would like to fight it back. So how will you survive in such spaces? Here is something, unfortunately or fortunately, we are seeing their animals, their cows. Are they fighting? Is there a sad one there? Look at this picture. And look at this one. It's the same space. So the cows know that there's enough grass for everyone. My grandfather used to say, there's enough grass for everyone. I mean, the cows know it. And even when there's not enough grass in the drought season, they rather leave it for a younger cow or something. They are sacrificial because they know in the end it will help our own genealogy. So if there's something that is in your environment and you feel you're under attack, give space to others in a way that propels you and also helps them. And I will go back to our theme about the 5 people in a team, that the one we started with. And we will see that even though we say the man is the one in front, doesn't mean the women are not, it doesn't mean that the women are not leading. You can be at the back My manual, the Bible, we are told the man is the head of the family. But it doesn't say what the women are. We have a choice. You can be the heart, you can be the hands, you can be the legs, you can run with the head. Yeah? So, so decide in your space, what am I? This day I can be the leg. Tomorrow I'll be the hand. Tomorrow I'm the heart. The head cannot survive without the heart, right? Same to office spaces. Don't fight them. Be friendly to your fellow gender and make a plan of how to move. Now, this is almost the last slide. When you look at this, please help me. What do you see? Is it a family? Did they tell you? How did you decide they're a family? They were there? They're together, that's one thing. Another thing, they are holding each other, they're supporting each other. Can you see the mother or the father or the children? Where are they? Okay, it's an imagination. Are these the parents or the children? The children. And these ones?
The father and mother.
Now, the question there was, what is the power of silence? How to be felt in a different way? Do you have to talk too much to be felt? I'm that person who talks too much when I'm used to you, but I can also be very reserved, and someone can miss my strength just because I'm not talking in that space. So it is still contextual. When is it? When you're called upon to stand up, as I said, to stand up and defend your space, do it without reservation. But when you're demanded of to stay back, respect yourself. Don't be in the fighting space all the time. Think about this family. We have just decided they're a family, first of all, because we can see love there. They've not told us. We have decided who the father is, the mother is, even though we have not been told. So how about we go through our lives, even as women or men, knowing, being very confident of your space, being very confident of who you are, so that you are not in everybody's space. You can be different and still be in leadership. Thank you so much. I want to stop there. This is for God, because I said the Bible is my manual. It's for my children. And when I say my children, it's not my biological children. They're children, generations to come. Hold their hands. I'm here because my parents believed in me. I'm here because my grandmother was a very prayerful woman, even though she was not educated. And I'm also here because I'm holding other people's hands. Mercy knows she's my mentee. And when I was in the Dean of Students' office, I had, I think when I entered there were three problems. There was dress code. Miriam, you remember? We clashed a lot many times, so what's up? There was dress code. There was the issue of female students. They didn't have someone to talk to or to hear them. I think the third one was that there was just a group of students who were very unruly. There was always someone wanting to strike or something like that. So I remember I had to take that space. And many people remember me at the gate because of dress code. And I think I was new, I was also naive. One lecturer actually called me aside and said, "Doctor, you're an academician. You're not a policeman. What are you doing in the gates?" But I understood that was the season God had called me upon. It didn't matter what my papers are or what I was doing, and that is the change that I needed to do at that time. So when we talk about our children, we are thinking of generations that will follow us. What is the difference we can make for them? And how can they move into the future better than what we did? For my country, of course. I love Kenya. I love Kenya. Thank you so much for engaging. God bless you.